Hello friends, welcome to the next session of 10th class chemistry. I think in the previous discussion we studied up to how to balance the chemical equations and I had given you some examples to practice. I think you have spent a lot of time on practicing or on getting the answer for balancing chemical equations. So after knowing what is a chemical equation, what is a chemical reaction and how to balance, why to balance, now we'll go to the next part of the chapter, first chapter. So today we will discuss on types of chemical reactions. So for the 10th class we have 5 types of chemical reactions. First one is combination reactions, and the second one is decomposition reactions, displacement reactions, double displacement reactions, and redox reactions. So let us in brief discuss 5 various types of chemical reactions. First is combination reactions. It is a combination reaction. Means reactants combine to give a single product. Whether reactant is 1 or 2 or 3, after the combination of 2 or more, we get only one product. They come under the category known as combination reactions. Best example is action of water on the lime. Lime, in Hindi we call it as chuna. We bring from the market and we put water. When you put water, after 1 or 2 hours of gap, we see like butter formation of calcium hydroxide, which is commonly called as calcium hydroxide. So when calcium oxide reacts with water to give calcium hydroxide, a single product, this comes under the category known as combination reaction. Many examples are there. So this is one sample to understand what is combination reaction. Now you can see on the slide one more example or one more a picture I have selected from the industry to explain or to know the difference between exothermic and the endothermic reactions. In chemistry, heat energy is the most common energy. During some reactions, heat energy is given out and in some reactions, heat energy is absorbed. So depending upon the heat energy given out or the absorbed, we classify the reaction as exothermic and endothermic. When the heat is given out, it comes under the category exothermic reaction. Whereas if the heat is absorbed, it comes under the endothermic category. So one small sample he has given, when the any fuel is burned, a lot of heat is given out. He has taken an example of magnetite in the extraction of iron metallurgy that we are going to discuss in the 11th class chapter. And endothermic, where energy is absorbed. When we put a small piece of ice under a palm, we feel cold because it is absorbed. That's why we feel cold. Now we'll go to the next category, decomposition reactions. It is the opposite of combination reaction. Compose means to unite, to add, whereas decompose means to separate, to break. Okay. So decomposition reaction means when a chemical compound breaks, decomposes by supplying required amount of energy into products, that is termed as a decomposition reaction. For example, ferrous sulfate on heating gives ferric oxide, sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide. Here the question is how to decompose. By what energy? Normally we supply heat energy. So if you supply heat energy and if you decompose, that comes under the thermal decomposition, or it is also called as thermochemical reaction. Already one example you have seen. One more example is calcium carbonate on heating decomposes into calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. Whereas third example is lead nitrate on decomposition gives lead oxide, nitrogen dioxide and oxygen. In place of heat, if you decompose by supplying electricity, that comes under the category electrolytic decomposition, because in most of the industrial reactions we carry out this electrolytic decomposition, because certain reactions cannot be broken down using either thermal or light energy. That time we have to depend or we have to use electrical energy. So by using electrical energy, if you decompose, that comes under the electrolytic decomposition, and the sorry, and the type of the chemical reaction is known as what? Electrochemical reaction. And the best well-known example for electrolytic decomposition is a decomposition of water using electricity, known as electrolysis or electrolysis of water. Here, electrolysis is made from two words, electro and lysis or lysis. Electro, electricity, lysis means to break. So breaking the compound by using electricity is known as electrolysis. So here we are carrying out electrolysis of water. So 2H2O on decomposition gives 2 hydrogen and oxygen. They come under the already told electrochemical reactions. Now the third and the final category is photolysis, using photo energy, that is light energy, photosynthesis, photography, like that. Photo stands for the light energy. So using light energy, if you break a chemical compound, that comes under the category photolysis reaction. And example I have taken is silver chloride upon decomposition under the sunlight, in the presence of sunlight, to give silver and the chlorine gas. Now we'll go to the type number 3, combination, and after the decomposition, now the third category is displacement reactions. This is also very important reaction. Normally this reaction is studied under the category where free metal will react with the metal in solution. So in this situation we can explain what is displacement reaction. Here the free metal, if it is more reactive than the metal which is in the combined state, it will replace the combined metal. Otherwise, no. So this depends upon the reactivity of the free metal. For this, we should know the reactivity series of metals. So if you go through the reactivity series of metals, so the top one is potassium and the bottom one is platinum. So as and when time comes, I will tell you which is more reactive. Here I have taken one general example of A plus BC gives AB and C. Here A is free metal, BC is what? Here B is a metal, C is metallic salt. BC is a metallic salt solution. If A is more reactive than the B, then A will go and displace the B, so that A will take the place of the B, and the product formed is AC and B is made free. General example. And the more particular example, very famous reaction what we carry out in the laboratory from 6th class to 12th class is reaction between iron and the copper sulfate. So here iron is in the free state, whereas copper is in the combined state with the sulfate, known as the copper sulfate solution. If you dip iron metal in the copper sulfate solution, certainly because iron is more reactive than copper, so iron displaces the copper and forms into iron sulfate, and copper is made free. This can be clearly seen in the laboratory how the color of iron is blackish brown, whereas the color of copper sulfate solution is blue color. If the blackish brown colored iron powder or the iron strip is dipped in the blue colored copper sulfate, after some time you will notice that light yellow color of ferrous sulfate starts forming. That means the blue color of copper sulfate starts diminishing slowly, and at the same time light green color starts forming in the test tube, indicating that reaction is happening. And on the other side of the test tube you can see shining reddish brown colored copper is formed. So this indicates that iron has displaced the copper because iron is more reactive than copper. If you carry out reaction between iron sulfate and the copper, no reaction. Why? Because copper is not reactive than iron. It will not displace reaction. Reaction is what? It is called as a no reaction. Now, this one pictorial diagram. Who is more powerful? He will displace the one who is weak, like that. So, generally, I have taken. So, AB plus CD gives CV and AD. If A is more reactive than C, so C will go and A will come in the place of C, so forms into AD. This is also displacement, but here it is double displacement. So two metals are mutually, they come to the conclusion and displace each other. Who will take initiation here? The one which is more reactive. So the most reactive metal will take initiation and will go and displace the least reactive. When the least reactive becomes free, it has to take the place of the most reactive, and automatically a double displacement happens here. So we will take an example of what? Barium chloride with the sodium sulfate. So if you compare the barium reactivity with the sodium reactivity on the reactivity series of metals, we see that sodium is more reactive than the barium. So sodium will take initiation and sodium goes and displaces the barium, and barium has to take the place of sodium. So accordingly, when the sodium goes and displaces the barium, you will get sodium chloride. And when the barium takes the place of sodium, you will get the barium sulfate. So this we can see in the form of the formation of the white precipitate of barium sulfate. So whenever you add barium chloride to sodium sulfate in the test tube in the laboratory, immediate formation of white precipitate of barium sulfate, which tells that double displacement has happened. Fourth, not fourth, it is the fifth reaction, I think. Redox reaction. Redox is the combination of the two words reduction and the oxidation. So it is called as the redox reactions. So before you go into the redox reactions meaning, let us understand what is an oxidation and what is a reduction. So I have written here the classical meaning of oxidation and the reduction. As we move to the higher class, we will understand the electronic meaning of oxidation and the reduction. According to the classical meaning, oxidation means it is the addition of oxygen to a substance. In the example I have taken, oxygen is added onto the carbon, forms into carbon dioxide. So it is the addition of oxygen on carbon. So this comes under the category oxidation reaction. One more definition for oxidation, or one more way of telling what is oxidation, is removal of hydrogen from a substance. Whenever we remove hydrogen from a substance during a chemical reaction, that also comes under the oxidation. I have taken an example of what? Decomposition of ammonia. So from the ammonia, I am removing hydrogen. So it is the removal of hydrogen from the substance ammonia, which comes under the type known as oxidation reaction. So oxidation means either addition of oxygen or removal of hydrogen. Now opposite of this is called as reduction. So reduction is what? It is addition of hydrogen to a substance. So when sodium is reacting with hydrogen, sodium hydride is formed. Here hydrogen is added on the sodium to form into sodium hydride. Or one more way of telling what is reduction is removal of oxygen from a substance. The example to explain this statement I have taken is decomposition of aluminum oxide. When we decompose aluminum oxide, we get aluminum and the oxygen. Here oxygen is removed from the substance aluminum oxide. Therefore, it is called reduction reaction. So what is the conclusion? Reduction means either addition of hydrogen or removal of oxygen. Now we will see the next slide where what happens during the reaction. See in this slide left bottom, I have taken an example of water reaction between copper oxide and hydrogen to give copper and the water. What is happening? Just go through the reaction calmly and quietly. So we'll see that oxygen is being removed from the copper oxide and it is adding onto the hydrogen to convert into water. So when the oxygen is removed from the copper oxide, copper is formed. The removed oxygen will add upon the hydrogen to become water. So conversion of hydrogen to water is oxidation. Why? Because oxygen is adding on hydrogen. Addition of oxygen is known as oxidation. So therefore, conversion of H2 after adding oxygen to become water is known as oxidation. Whereas removal of oxygen from the copper oxide to make it free copper metal is known as reduction reaction. In this reaction, both are taking place simultaneously at a time. So therefore, such reactions are termed as redox reactions. Redox reactions are the reactions where oxidation and reduction takes place simultaneously. In most of the chemical reactions, oxidation reduction takes place simultaneously. Only few examples are there where we find pure oxidation, pure reduction. Otherwise, maximum examples are there for redox reactions where there is oxidation, there is a reduction. So oxidation and reduction are complementary to each other. Now, one more point we want to discuss here is what we have understood what is oxidation reaction and what is reduction reaction. Now we will understand which substance is oxidized and which substance is reduced, or which one is acting as a oxidizing agent and which one is acting as a reducing agent. You can see the slide. There are three elliptical diagrams where I have shown which one is oxidized, which one is reduced. Now please here, if a substance gains oxygen during a reaction, it is said to be oxidized. Here, hydrogen is oxidized. Why? See the definition. If a substance gains oxygen during a reaction, it is said to be oxidized. Hydrogen is a substance gaining oxygen from copper oxide, so hydrogen is oxidized to water. What about copper oxide? Copper oxide is losing oxygen. You see this side. If a substance gains oxygen or loses hydrogen, second part of the oxidation, during a reaction, it is oxidized. And if a substance loses oxygen or gains hydrogen during reaction, it is reduced. In the case of copper oxide, it is the loss of oxygen. Therefore, it is said that copper oxide is getting reduced. So hydrogen is oxidized, copper oxide is reduced. Hydrogen is oxidized to water, whereas copper oxide is reduced to copper. Now we will see one more slide where oxidation, reduction, oxidized, reduced, which one is the oxidizing agent and which one is the reducing agent with examples. Okay friends, here are the examples where we will understand what is oxidation, what is reduction. 3MnO2 plus 4Al gives 3Mn plus 2Al2O3. Al is converting into Al2O3. How? By adding oxygen. So it is addition of oxygen on aluminium. Therefore, it is called oxidation reaction. That is, you can see, I have shown by arrow mark, aluminum to the aluminum oxide. Now, MnO2 is losing oxygen and becoming Mn, like in the previous example, copper oxide. So it is the loss of oxygen from the MnO2. So MnO2 to Mn is known as the reduction. Now here, which substance is oxidized? It is the aluminium. So aluminium substance is oxidized by accepting oxygen from the MnO2, whereas MnO2 is a substance that is called substance reduced MnO2. Now which one is the oxidizing agent? Which one is reducing agent? How to know? The one who is helping oxidation is called as oxidizing agent, and the one who is helping reducing agent is known as the one is reduction reaction is known as reducing agent. It is like our LIC agent or the active agent who are helping us in doing some work. Like that, these chemicals are acts like an agents. How? See, MnO2 is undergoing reduction by giving oxygen to someone who is in need. So it is giving its oxygen to the someone, or here it is aluminum. So it is helping the oxidation reaction by undergoing reduction. Therefore, it is called oxidizing agent. Whereas aluminum is accepting whatever is given from the oxidizing agent. So if MnO2 acts as oxidizing agent, then Al has to act as a reducing agent. So where there is a oxidizing agent, other one should be the reducing agent. So they are complementary to each other. Okay, now we'll go to the second reaction between iron oxide and the carbon monoxide to give iron and carbon dioxide. Iron oxide to iron is a reduction, whereas carbon monoxide to carbon dioxide is an oxidation. Iron oxide is undergoing reduction by giving its oxygen. Therefore, it is called as oxidizing agent because it is helping the oxidation reaction. In the same way, carbon monoxide is accepting oxygen from iron oxide, undergoing oxidation. Therefore, it is called reducing agent. Now, third example, reaction between SO2 and H2S to give sulfur and water. Please see SO2 to S, loss of O. It is called as what? Reduction. Whereas in the case of H2S, H2 from the H2S, H2 is getting oxygen from the SO2. So it is called oxidation. So substance oxidized is H2S, whereas substance reduced is SO2. And from the above two examples, you can clearly see that here SO2 is an oxidizing agent and the H2S is a reducing agent. We are clear with what is oxidation, what is reduction, what is a reducing agent, what is an oxidizing agent, which substance is oxidized, which substance is reduced, and what is redox reaction. After knowing all these terms, now we will go to the application level of redox reactions. In everyday life, we see some reactions which are happening because of what? Oxidation and the reduction. There are many reactions, but among them I have selected two examples. They are corrosion and rancidity. What is corrosion? Corrosion is the slow destruction of a material. Whether it is a wood, whether it is a soil, whether it is a building, whether it is a cement, whether it is a material, whether it is a plastic, any material which undergoes a slow destruction because of the environmental factor, that is known as what? Corrosion. But among all the corrosions, metal corrosion is very important. Why? Because metals have become part and parcel of our life. We use many metals in the form of ornament, in the form of for the construction work. So therefore, metals corrosion is a great concern. That's why corrosion means we normally speak about the corrosion of metals only. Among the corrosion of metals, it is the corrosion of iron is very important. Why? Because iron is the most widely used metal in our life. From small needle to the big construction of the bridge, we use iron metal. But the problem is iron has got affinity, affection, reactivity towards the oxygen. All metals have reactivity towards the oxygen. But if you see the reactivity series, before iron, those metals are called as more reactive metals. They react immediately with oxygen and forms the oxide, and that oxide layer at low temperature or the room temperature acts like a cover. So the next corrosion stops automatically for the what? For the active metals before iron. Whereas after iron, metals which are least reactive than the iron, so they undergo slowly corrosion. And in the case of platinum and the gold, they do not undergo corrosion at all. They are corrosion resistant metals. That's why they are used for making the jewelry. Whether it is thrown in water or the air or the acid, they do not undergo any corrosion. So it is only the iron, because of its nature, because of its position, and because of its reactivity towards the oxygen, affinity towards the oxygen, iron undergoes quickly with what? Oxygen. But for the corrosion, there are some conditions. Only air alone will not undergo corrosion. Water alone is not sufficient condition or the necessary condition for the corrosion. So it is the combination of the air and the water both responsible for the corrosion of iron. So more about the corrosion of iron we study in the higher classes. So our concern, our worry part is what? Because iron is the most widely used metal in our day-to-day life. So it is our moral duty or it is our responsibility to protect the iron from rusting. Okay, so corrosion of iron is also called as what? Rusting. Rust is a common name. Its chemical name is iron oxide, which is reddish brown colored iron oxide. So you can see in the picture, reddish brown colored upper part of the picture, reddish brown color. It is undergoing rusting. So then how to control corrosion? How to avoid iron to undergo the corrosion? There are various ways are there. Among some ways are the easy, cheap and the best way is what? Painting. You might have seen in the classrooms, benches are painted, window panes are painted, window linings are painted because paint is a oil, it is a fat. So it will not allow water or air to fall directly onto the iron surface. So when air and water is not air and water contact is not there on the iron surface, then the question of corrosion doesn't arise. Therefore, iron is protected from the corrosion, from the rusting. If you want to still better method, you can go for the electroplating, or still best method, you can go for the galvanization, where zinc is coated on the iron. Why zinc is coated? Zinc is more reactive than the iron. So whenever zinc coating is there on the iron, it is the zinc first takes initiation and reacts with the oxygen and forms into zinc oxide. This zinc oxide layer acts as the cover for the iron surface. So iron is protected. It is like wearing sweater during winter. So your sweater will act as a cover for the cold waves during winter, so that you are protected. Like that, zinc oxide layer acts like a protective cover for the iron, so that iron is not undergoing corrosion, and iron is protected for many days, many weeks, or many years. Otherwise, if iron loss is there, huge loss is there, it is lost to the country. So loss of what? Economics of our country. Now, one more example for oxidation reduction is rancidity. This you might have seen in your everyday life, especially in the kitchen. Whenever oils and fats, food made out of the oils and fats, if they are stored for a long time, so they get a kind of unpleasant odor or unwanted, undesirable color and a taste. So it spoils the food. So this all comes under the rancidity. So in a simple language, rancidity is the what? When the oils and fats are stored for a long time, they develop unpleasant odor and the color, which is known as rancidity. It is because of oxidation of fats and the oils. That's why they advise you to consume food made out of the fats and oils as early as possible. Otherwise, they develop unwanted smell, and simply it is waste of food. Now, then how to protect food from rancidity? Nowadays, food industry has become very important. Whether it is a defense, whether it is a hostel, whether it is a corporate world, so many workers are depending on the packaged food. Now, how the food is packaged, how the food is stored in the shop for a weeks together or months together. So during the packing of food material, so they add some chemicals. They are known as additives. So they are also known as what? Antioxidants. So antioxidant is what? Anti, opposite of oxidant. That means those chemicals are not allowing the food to undergo oxidation. When the food is not undergoing oxidation, that means you are protecting the food from the oxidation, so that spoilage of food will not take place in 1 week or in 1 month. So depend upon the quantity of the food, we add required amount of the additives or the antioxidant. Or sometimes what they do, they pack the food material in airtight conditions where air is not allowed to enter the food packet. When the air is not allowed to enter the food packet, it will not undergo oxidation. Either you have to pack airtight, or if it is not possible for you to pack airtight, at least you add some additives so that you can see some chips packets are there. So many packets are there in the market. They are stored in the shop for a month together. It is because they will have some additives. They are called as antioxidants. So there are a variety of antioxidants. BHA is there that we learn in the higher class. If you take a food chemistry as a special subject, you learn how the food chemistry is prepared, packed, and sold in the market.